How fun would it be to go on a game show? Bright lights, cameras, and a little chance at fame or maybe even love.
You'd totally go on, wouldn't you?
Oh, for sure, but I'd probably freeze up and give the most awkward answers.
Describe yourself in 3 words. Oh, hungry.
What if I told you that one of the contestants who actually won wasn't asking or looking for love at all? He was in the middle of a brutal killing spree.
And luckily, the woman who picked him never went on that date. She said he gave her creepy vibes.
That instinct may have saved her life.
Today we're talking about Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. Rodney Alcala was born in 1943 in San Antonio, Texas. His dad walked out on a family when Rodney was 10, and his mom moved them to Los Angeles.
Once in Los Angeles, Rodney went to Cantwell Sacred Heart of Mary High School, a private Catholic school in Montebello. On the surface, he was the kind of student parents bragged about: smart, athletic, active in school clubs.
But beyond that, he had the streak of manipulation. At 17, he joined the Army. Not long after, he had a breakdown, was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, and discharged.
And the guy wasn't dumb either. His IQ was 135. He later studied film at NYU under Roman Polanski. That's a dark little coincidence considering that Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate, was murdered by the Manson family.
It's like Rodney was always orbiting around chaos. September 25th, 1968, Rodney spots 8-year-old Tali Shapiro walking down Sunset Boulevard, heading to West Hollywood Elementary School.
He pulls over, talks her into his car, and takes her back to his Hollywood apartment. Luckily, a passing motorist saw what happened and called the police.
When officers kicked in the door, they found Tali clinging to life. She'd been raped and beaten with a steel bar.
Miraculously, she survived, but Rodney slipped out the back and vanished before police could grab him.
While on the run, Rodney made his way to New York. In 1971, Cornelia Crilly, a flight attendant, was found strangled in her Manhattan apartment. That murder went unsolved for decades.
Meanwhile, Rodney reinvented himself as John Berger. He was even working as a counselor at a New Hampshire arts camp for kids.
Which is horrifying. A wanted man hiding in plain sight, surrounded by children.
By this point, the FBI had caught on. In early 1971, they added him to their 10 most wanted fugitive list. His face was plastered on posters all across the country.
And get this, 2 kids at the New Hampshire arts camp recognized him on one of those FBI posters at the post office.
And that's when it all came crashing down. He was finally arrested in August of 1971 and extradited back to California for the Shapiro case.
Here's the frustrating part. Because Tali's family had moved to Mexico, she couldn't testify. So instead of attempted murder, Rodney was convicted only of the child molestation.
And he got 3 years and served just 34 months.
After his release in 1974, Rodney wasted no time. Within 2 months, he was arrested again, this time for luring a 13-year-old girl into his car and assaulting her.
And guess what? He got paroled again.
Oh, it's so maddening. Psychiatrists even warned parole boards that Rodney was a danger to society, but he charmed his way through every time.
It's like the system handed him opportunity after opportunity, and he used every one of them to hunt.
1978, ABC's hit show, The Dating Game. The format was simple. One woman asks questions, 3 hidden bachelors answer, and at the end, she picks one for a dream date.
And bachelor number 1 is Rodney Alcala,
a photographer who enjoys skydiving and motorcycling.
Sounds like fun until you realize photographer means he lured women into secluded places with his camera.
Here's the kicker. He actually won. The woman, Cheryl Bradshaw, picked him.
But after the show, she refused to go on a date. She told producers he gave her really creepy vibes.
That gut feeling probably saved her life. Rodney Alcala's killing spree in California between 1977 in 1979 was horrifying. His first known victim in this period was 18-year-old Jill Terry Barcomb, a runaway from Oneida, New York. On November 9, 1977, he murdered her and left her body on a dirt path near Mulholland Drive.
Jill was found naked from the waist down, poised in a fetal position, rolled up like a ball. She had been sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled with the blue rope ties. There were even bite marks on her breast. At first, authorities thought she was the victim of the hillside strangler, but eventually they determined these murders were separate.
Just a month later, on December 16, 1977, a 27-year-old nurse, Georgia Marie Wixted, was discovered dead in her Malibu apartment. She'd last been seen driving a friend home from a bar. When police arrived, there were signs of forced entry. Georgia was found posed naked, strangled with her own nylons, and sexually assaulted. Her skull had been bashed in, and her genitals were mutilated. A handprint at the scene and later DNA evidence would tie Rodney to the crime.
Then came Charlotte Lee Lamb, a 31-year-old legal secretary from Santa Monica. On June 24, 1978, she was found dead in her apartment laundry room. She was beaten, strangled with a shoelace, sexually assaulted, and posed with her hands behind her back. DNA from the scene matched Rodney, and earrings found in his storage locker would later confirm the link.
Oh, Rodney didn't stop there. On February 14, 1979, he picked up a 15-year-old hitchhiker, Monique Hoyt, in Riverside County. He lured her to his apartment, assaulted her, then took her to Joshua Tree, bound and gagged her, assaulted her again, and even bludgeoned her with a rock. Miraculously, she escaped when he stopped at a gas station. She went straight to police, and Rodney was arrested, only to be released on bail when his mother posted it.
And then there was Jill Marie Parenteau, a 21-year-old computer key punch operator. On June 13, 1979, she never returned from a baseball game. Police found signs of forced entry in her Burbank apartment. Jill had been beaten, sexually assaulted, strangled, and posed with pillows under her shoulders. Blood evidence would later link Rodney to the murder.
Finally, the case that would lead to his eventual conviction. 12-year-old Robin Christine Samsoe from Huntington Beach. On June 20, 1979, she disappeared while riding her bike to ballet class. 12 days later, her body was found off of Santa Ana Cannon Road. She had been raped, beaten, and stabbed. Witnesses described a man approaching girls on the beach asking to take their photos. The police sketch circulated, and Rodney's parole officer immediately recognized him.
It was the last of his California spree that finally put authorities on the path to justice.
After Robin Samsoe's murder, Rodney was finally arrested in July 1979 and held without bail, finally.
His trial for Robin's murder started in May of 1980, and he was found guilty. The court would sentence him to death.
But it wasn't over. In 1984, the California Supreme Court overturned the verdict because jurors had been improperly informed about his prior sex crimes.
Fast forward to May of 1986, his second trial almost mirrored the first, minus the prior criminal record testimony. He was convicted again and sentenced to death in August of 1986.
The California Supreme Court upheld the verdict in 1992, but Rodney kept filing appeals, even managing to get his second conviction partially overturned in 2001.
The legal back and forth was insane, but DNA evidence really came into play.
In 2003, new DNA evidence linked Rodney to the murders of 4 additional women: Jill Barcomb, Georgia Wixted, Charlotte Lamb, and Jill Parenteau.
Even more chilling, the evidence included a pair of earrings found in his storage locker that matched Charlotte Lamb's DNA.
When the court combined Robin Samsoe's murder with these 4 cold cases, Rodney acted as his own attorney during the third trial in 20.
Yes, he literally cross-examined himself. 5 hours of questioning himself in a monotone voice. Mr. Alcala, where were you on June 20th, 1979? And then he would answer himself.
He even tried to use his 1978 dating game appearance as part of his defense, claiming the earrings in his locker were his, not Robin's.
It didn't work, however. After less than 2 days, the jury convicted him on all 5 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death again in March 2010.
Meanwhile, in New York, prosecutors waited for appeals to play out. In 2011, he was indicted for the murders of Cornelia Crilly in 1971 and Ellen Jane Hoover in 1977.
He pled guilty in December of 2012, partly so he could return to California for his death sentence appeals. In New York, he was sentenced to 25 years to life in January of 2013.
Investigators also found hundreds of photographs in his collection, some which remained unidentified. Police hope that the public may still help identifying potential victims from those images.
Even decades later, new victims are still being connected. For example, Morgan Rowan came forward describing being attacked in 1968 at the age of 16, and Pamela Lamberson and Christine Thornton were later linked through DNA evidence.
Rodney Alcala died of a heart attack on July 24, 2021, at a hospital in Kings County, California.
He was still on death row. Decades of trials, appeals, and horrors finally over, but the echoes of his crime remained.
And sadly, we may never know the full scope. Investigators believe over 100 victims may have passed through his hands.
It's chilling to think that a man like Rodney Alcala could charm his way onto national television while committing some of the most horrifying crimes in American history.
It makes you appreciate the power of instinct, like Cheryl Bradshaw trusting her gut on the dating game. That choice may have saved her life.
If you're fascinated or horrified by this story, you're not alone. These cases remind us of how dark human behavior can get and why law enforcement and forensic breakthroughs are so vital.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the life and crimes of Rodney Alcala. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, and share so you don't miss future episodes of our true crime series. And remember, trust your gut. Sometimes it could save your life.